As Eleanor Roosevelt once said, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing which you think you cannot do. Fear, an emotion we all experience, wields a powerful grip over our lives. It can paralyze us, or it can spur us into action. It's not about avoiding fear, but rather about how we react when it strikes. Remember, fear is universal, but how we respond to it defines our true strength. Experts in psychology and neuroscience have studied fear extensively and have insightful advice on how to manage it. They tell us that fear is a survival mechanism deeply ingrained in our brains. When we encounter danger, our brain's amygdala triggers a fight or flight response, releasing adrenaline and cortisol and preparing us for action. This primal response has kept us safe throughout human history. But in a modern world, our fears often don't involve life or death situations. We fear public speaking, rejection, failure. These are not primal threats, but our brain processes them as such. We become paralyzed, unable to take action, held back by our own minds. So how do we overcome these fears? Firstly, the experts tell us to face our fears head-on. It may sound counterintuitive, but by confronting what scares us, we can slowly desensitize ourselves to it. This is known as exposure therapy. It's like dipping your toes in the water before taking a plunge. Over time, the fear loses its power. Secondly, we can practice mindfulness. By focusing on the present moment, we can prevent our minds from spiraling into worst-case scenarios. This doesn't mean ignoring the fear, but rather acknowledging it and then choosing to focus on the here and now. Lastly, experts recommend a technique known as cognitive restructuring. This involves challenging and changing the negative thought patterns that fuel our fear. We can ask ourselves, is this fear based on fact or assumption? What's the worst that could happen? Is it as catastrophic as we imagine? Often we'll find our fears are more perception than reality. These techniques are not about eliminating fear entirely. Fear is a part of us, a part of our survival instinct. It's about learning to manage it, to not let it control us. As we practice, we'll find that what once seemed terrifying becomes less intimidating, even easy. As these experts suggest, overcoming fear is less about eradicating it and more about learning to cope with it. The power to conquer fear lies within us. We just need to learn how to harness it. Across the globe, countless individuals have faced their fears and emerged victorious. Their stories serve as powerful reminders of our own potential. Consider Sarah, who lived in the shadow of her fear of heights. She decided to confront her fear, signing up for a rock climbing course. Each ascent was a battle against her own anxiety, but she persisted. Over time, the fear that once consumed her began to fade into the background. Today, she scales mountains without a second thought, her fear replaced by exhilaration. Then there's Mark, a talented pianist who trembled at the thought of public performance. The fear of judgment held him back for years. One day, he decided it was time to break free from his self-imposed shackles. He started small, performing for close friends, then larger gatherings, and eventually on stage. The dread he once felt transformed into anticipation, his music reaching hearts far and wide. And let's not forget about Amelia. She was petrified of the water, a fear born from a childhood incident, but she refused to let her fear define her. She enrolled in swimming classes, and with each stroke, she reclaimed her power. Today, she swims with grace and confidence, her fear a distant memory. These stories are testament to the human capacity to overcome fear, and they remind us that we too possess this ability. So now you know about the power of fear, expert advice on overcoming it, and inspiring stories of individuals who have done just that. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Fear is not your enemy. It's a signpost, a compass needle pointing you towards growth. It's a challenge, daring you to step outside your comfort zone and discover your true potential. It's a teacher, showing you what you're made of and what you can achieve. Facing your fear, that's where the magic happens. That's where you find strength you didn't know you had. That's where you learn, grow, and become a better version of yourself. It's time to stop running. Stop hiding. Stop letting fear control you. Take the reins. Embrace your fear. Act in spite of it. Each time you do, you'll find it gets a little easier, a little less scary. Remember, you are more powerful than your fears. Embrace them, face them, and watch as you become a stronger, more confident version of yourself. Thank you all for spending your time with us today. We hope that this video has provided you with valuable insights and tools to face your fears and embrace your journey towards growth. If you found value in this content, please show your support by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with others who might benefit from it. Remember, each one of us has the potential to overcome our fears, and your journey towards conquering them starts today. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us continue to bring you content like this. Remember, you are stronger than your fears, and every step you take towards confronting them is a step towards a stronger, more confident you. So keep learning, keep growing, but most importantly, keep embracing your journey. Thank you, and until next time, face your fears and embrace your journey. We love you.